One thing I had that'll sort of bridge us to our next topic on this, our next positional battle. Did we crown Adley Rutschman too soon? Because he comes up and we're all just like, all right, that's the best catcher in baseball. He's going to be the best catcher in baseball for the next decade. But Will Smith has been here, and William Contreras is really good too. I don't know. Like next year, we do the Just Baseball top 10 catchers. Are we just going to default to Adley again? Or can one of these guys do enough this season that we pause on that and say maybe Adley Rutschman is just considered, instead of just consensus top catcher in baseball, maybe he's just one of the best three, and these guys are right there with him? Because I think before this season, we sort of felt like there was this separation where Rutschman was just clearly better. And what we've seen play out, he's actually been the third best. And those two guys, I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon.
I think that will not happen now because you said that, because you've put that out there into the world, and not that because you're making this up, because that's true. I think there are some players that do get crowned as being the next so-and-so or the second coming, or just, hey, this guy is in a class of their own. And that might be true. Like, again, in 3 months from now, we could be looking back and going, hey, remember when we were like saying, you know what, Will Smith deserves a little bit more praise, and William Contreras than Adley Rutschman, at that point in time. Like that could be, kind of, we might laugh at that, right? But there very much is truth in that, where you look at the numbers and you say, okay, they're not exactly there. Now, what he does as a backstop, again, defensive metrics, are still trailing behind the offensive ones that we have that are available. And he certainly is a special player and is a leader. Like, there are those intangibles, right? But when we're, when you've got the cream of the crop, when you've got three really talented catchers, I think a lot of them have that intangible quality as a leader. So, you have to default a little bit to the numbers. And so for that reason, yeah, Adley Rutschman would then fall third behind Will Smith and William Contreras. And maybe at some point we get to a conversation all right, he's third in baseball, but is he actually fourth this season when it comes to All-Star voting? I don't know.
Well, that does bring us right to our next topic here, which is Adley Rutschman versus Salvador Perez. I don't think any of us would have expected to have this conversation 3 months ago, but here's Salvador Perez. I don't know if him and Christian Yelich are both sipping out of the same fountain of youth this offseason, but I mean, wow. Perez has been unbelievable, and he's been a part of it. One of the teams that's been the best stories in baseball this year in the Royals. And you look at the offensive numbers, he's got Adley in batting average by a hair, 304 to 300, and that was prior to Sunday's play, so that might have changed. He's got him on base percentage and slug, though, by a good margin. His OPS must be probably about 60 points better, I'd assume. You look at the WAR totals, they're identical. Salvador Perez, should he start another All-Star game here? And would Adley be a backup in this situation?
Well, we did our first time All-Star draft, and I doubled down and said, okay, Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop, Adley Rutschman at catcher, and almost immediately said, I think that might be wrong. I might have it backwards. I think Gunner's going to start at short, and Salvi's going to start at catcher. So I like trying to have my cake and eat it too. I love hedging bets. You might not know that about me just yet. So now I forget which one I'm supposed to say in order to make myself right at some point. No, I don't know how this one's going to wind up. I know there's a lot of Orioles having really great years, and I think a lot of the new younger fans are probably going to lean towards younger players like an Adley Rutschman versus the old man Salvador Perez, who's really not that old. At what, he's about 34, which again in baseball parlance that is getting up there, and for a catcher that's up there. But he's one of those special players where if you look at all his All-Star Game appearances and Gold Glove awards, I wrote about that a month or so ago, about like, we're looking at a Hall of Famer here, right? And really, this is just kind of padding that resume that much more to, is he a second, third, fourth ballot Hall of Famer, or should he start the All-Star Game this year in Texas? That now puts him in an even more elite class. If he's able to lead Kansas City to the postseason, go on yet another run, the guy who was the 2015 World Series MVP could have, another thing on his Hall of Fame plaque that says, he deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer when he decides to hang it up. A lot is in the balance here in this debate, but I think because of the younger fans are going to more closely identify with Adley Rutschman, I think he might end up winning out in this battle.